Now, you know what? After my last video, something came back to me that happened to me personally. And I think that it is important to actually talk about. Because one thing I do not want people doing in this business is blaming themselves for every single thing that happens. So now let me be clear before somebody twists my words. Sometimes it is you. Sometimes your work does slip. Sometimes you stop moving the way you used to, and sometimes communication just gets bad. Sometimes deadlines start getting messed up, getting missed, whatever. That happens, okay? But sometimes it really just ain't you. Sometimes the company changes. So let's talk about that. The management changes. The expectations change. The way they move change. And what used to work no longer works. Okay? And if you don't recognize it early, you can sit there stressed out, blaming yourself all while your money is dropping. And I do want to tell you something that happened to me because it taught me a big lesson about not getting too attached to one company. And I'm not naming no company names. Y'all already know that ain't how I move. We don't do that over here. But this happened to me with one of my favorite companies. And when I say favorite, I mean favorite. This company kept me moving. The carriers, they loved my work. And I had been working with this company for a couple of years. And I'm not saying this to brag. I'm just saying it because the context matters. So I need you guys to stick with me here. Stick with me while I tell you what happened, okay? I knew how they operated. I knew the workflow. I knew what they expected. And honestly, okay, things were flowing. Everything was running very smooth. I had a regional manager that I communicated with all the time. And I know you guys are very, you guys know what I'm talking about when I talk about the regional managers. Based on where you are, that particular person that you talk to on a normal. When something's happening or if you got a question, you're going to communicate with a particular person. So I had a regional manager that I communicated with all the time. Good communication, okay? No weirdness, none of that. No games, none of that. The work moved. I moved. Everybody was happy. And if y'all know me, y'all know one thing about me is that if I get these assignments, I move fast. Okay, I am not about to sit around all day staring at files. Okay, I'm contacting the insurance. I'm setting appointments. I'm getting things moving as quickly as I possibly can because I like momentum, period, in my life, regardless of the work. Whether I'm working or just around the house, I like to get things done. That's just how I've always been. So if I had 10 files, baby, I'm already working. I'm calling. I'm texting when needed. I'm emailing. I'm getting appointments. I'm getting everything lined up. I'm moving things through. And because they knew how I worked, more work would continue being loaded into my system. Why? Because they could see actual movement. Okay? So if every file wasn't completed yet, they knew she got it. She got it. Appointments were being set. After all, right, I was setting appointments. People were being contacted. Things, once again, were moving. So now let me say something because beginners may not understand this. Sometimes in this business, you're going to have problem people. So let me explain what I mean by that. You're going to have insureds that do not answer the phone. You're going to have, and all of this context matters. So I need y'all to stick with me because y'all like, I thought you said, okay, well, I'm getting to what my point is. You're going to have insureds that do not answer the phone. You're going to have people who are going to be ignoring emails, ignoring your calls, ignoring the agents when the agents call them, acting like they don't know an inspection even exists. Okay? And you can't force grown people to participate. I need some of y'all to understand that. You can't force grown people to participate in an inspection if they don't want to. You cannot magically make somebody cooperate. You can follow process, right? You can document, you can keep trying, but at some point, the ball is in their court if the inspection is going to be done. And most experienced inspectors know exactly what I'm talking about. So normally what would happen is this. If I had 10 files, I may already have 7 moving. Appointments set, work flowing, things are getting completed, right? But maybe I got 2 or 3 people who are being difficult. They're not answering, they're dodging calls, they're ignoring the messages, okay? The agent can't reach them either. Nobody can get them. Okay, cool. That happens. But because the company could see that I was moving and the work was getting done, they would continue loading assignments, right? Nobody was playing games. Wasn't nobody micromanaging. There was no slowing the process down. Everybody worked. Then one day, we find out that the regional manager is moving to another part of the business. And I remember thinking to myself, okay, well, hopefully this goes smooth, I always know what happens when authority changes hands in companies. y'all know what I'm getting at, because I'm about to tell you. Okay, baby, let me tell you, it did not go smooth at all. All right? So let me say this carefully, because I'm take that back. I am trying to stay a little professional with this. I never met this man personally, the new regional manager. Never met him personally. Remember now, we're talking to these people via email and text messages, stuff like that. You don't see these people. But sometimes you can feel energy through communication. Y'all know what I mean. Sometimes people don't even gotta say much to you, and you can tell how somebody moves. And from my opinion, I felt like he came in trying to prove something. Almost like I'm about to change everything, okay? So now, instead of work continuously flowing in the system while the files were moving, things started stopping. And at first I'm thinking, okay, maybe this is temporary. No ma'am, new rules. We got new rules, all right? Now all of a sudden, if I had 10 files and 7 were already scheduled and moving, that didn't matter. The last problem files, those ones, the ones where people were refusing to answer, those last little 3 files that are sitting in there, the ones that, where they're ignoring everybody who's trying to get in touch with them, those became what held up everything. So imagine this. Now, imagine what I'm saying. You got 7 completed. Money is moving. Working. Everything is flowing. You are moving fast. But now, because 2 or 3 people don't want to answer their phone, don't want to respond to your emails, okay, don't want to cooperate, everything stops. No new work loading. Okay, so now I'm over here thinking, wait a minute. What exactly is happening right now? What are we doing? What's happening? I know my workload is not going to depend on people who are not even going to probably get an inspection done in the first place. You're going to have to cancel the file and probably cancel their insurance. I know my workload is not being put on hold because of this. Okay? Because now we are allowing uncooperative people to control our income as inspectors. And it's nothing that we can do. It's out of our control. We're the inspectors. We don't work in the back office. We're not the regional managers. We didn't hire the one who came in. It's not our fault. Okay? So make that make sense. And if you've been in this business for any amount of time, you already know exactly what I'm talking about. Some people are just difficult. They don't answer. Then call back 3 weeks later, acting like they confused, pretending like they didn't never know. Some people ignore everything. And no matter how good you are at your job, you cannot force anybody to participate. You just can't. But now, okay, we got new leadership. So now, instead of the company recognizing, okay, work is moving, let's keep loading, everything stalls. So now, imagine your page of files almost done. and you're sitting there with 2 or 3 problem people left, nothing else loaded, inbox dry, system dry. Imagine that. And you know you're capable of handling more work. That part right there was frustrating, to say the least, because I knew my work was solid. It's always solid, okay? I knew I moved fast. I knew the carriers liked my work. I had years in this, okay? This wasn't somebody struggling. Not at all. This wasn't somebody doing poor work. This was a system change. And then it got worse. Now I'm being told, don't just expect work to be loaded into your system. Once your files are empty, contact me first by email or text so I can check everything and then decide whether the work gets uploaded. Baby, what? What? I remember thinking to myself, sir, okay, wait, hold up. This is a job, not a game. What is happening right now? Like, why are we creating extra steps? And I'm going to be honest with y'all. That changed everything. The company that used to be one of my best companies turned out to be my worst. The biggest reason? Flow changed. The momentum changed. And in this business, momentum matters. It definitely does when it comes to your money. Because if you are somebody that moves quickly, right? And your income depends on volume? Come on now. Bottlenecking. That crap matters. Those delays matter. Those unnecessary rules matter. And I know somebody's watching this has probably dealt with something like this or something at least similar to this. Management changes, rules change, communication changes, workflow changes. The next thing you know, you're sitting here confused and wondering what happened. Now here's the important part of this whole story. I did not sit there blaming myself. I sure didn't. But I also didn't sit there emotionally attached either to no company. And I think some people stay too loyal to struggle. I said what I said. At some point, you got to stop fighting systems that no longer work for you, especially if your bills are depending on this. Because I had to ask myself, am I about to sit here hoping things magically go back to normal? Or am I going to pivot? And baby, let me tell you, I pivoted and I pivoted quick. Because one thing about me, I'm not about to sit around waiting for somebody to decide whether I deserve to work. No, ma'am. I started moving differently, diversifying, working with other companies along with the ones I already had, making sure my income stayed protected. And honestly, that's one of the best decisions I could have made in the first place, okay? Because it got rid of all of the uncertainty and all of the unknown. Imagine someone telling you that before you can get any more work, text me so I can check. And if you got 3 or 4 files that are horrible, that you've had probably a month sitting in there, some even longer than that, with all of these notes between you and the company, everybody's trying to get these people to cooperate with these inspections, and you wondering to yourself, why won't y'all just cancel them? Why y'all still got the file in there and still want me to continue to call these people? Imagine going through that and dealing with these files, but the majority of the work you get, everything is like this. Everything's flowing. Imagine that. But because there are 2 or 3 sitting in there, you no longer gonna get no work until those clear out. What is this? It's like going to school, and because you didn't finish your test on time, everybody gets to go to the playground and you gotta stay inside. Like, this ain't no game. Like, what is that? Sometimes things change. Companies change. Authorities switch out. Things start happening that are way beyond your control. And there's nothing that you can do but accept it. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna move I hope that you are. You're going to pivot. I hope that you are. It really can be outside factors and has nothing to do with you at all. Once again, management changing, expectations changing, policies changing, workflows changing, volume changes. And what used to work just ain't working anymore. Do you sit there loyal to struggle? Pay attention, be smart, and adapt. That's what you do. You pivot when needed. Because at the end of the day, this is a business. And if something starts affecting your ability to make money consistently, you gotta make hard decisions sometimes. Does that mean panic? No, it don't. That does not mean panic. And that does not mean to burn out or to burn bridges along the way because you're mad of the changes. Okay? So please don't be getting emotional when stuff like this happens. Because if you hang around in this job long enough, if you haven't experienced it before, eventually you will. You will. Okay? It means to start moving smart. Protect your income. Protect your peace. Protect your reputation. And always remember, never let one company have so much control over your income that if something changes, everything falls apart. Because that right there, that's a lesson that cost me some frustration to learn. And I'm not playing with you guys. It costs, okay? But once I learned, baby, I never forgot it. All right, y'all. Y'all know what to do. And see you on the next video.